Breaking news for Chargers fans. The season is just around the corner, and if you're like me, you're counting down the days until that first kickoff. But while we wait, let's talk about something exciting. Breakout players for 2025. Some fresh faces and rising stars are ready to make noise this year, and I've picked 10 Chargers who I believe could shock the league. We're not just talking about superstars. You'll see rookies and under-the-radar names who might just become game changers. For example, rookie Kyle Kennard. He might not be a household name yet, but don't be surprised if he gets 4, 5, or even 6 sacks this season. With support from guys like Khalil Mack, Tuli Tipalotu, and Bud Dupree, Kyle could be a key part of the rotation. This is just the beginning. There are 10 players on this list, and some of them could define the Chargers' future. But before we dive deeper, if you love Chargers football and want all the latest updates, predictions, and analysis, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and smash the bell icon so you never miss out. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's totally free. Alright, here are my top 10 breakout Chargers for the 2025 season. Let's talk about someone most fans aren't watching closely enough. Keandre Smith. Yes, he was a 5th-round pick, and yes, the Chargers wide receiver room is already crowded. Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Mike Williams, Darius Davis, Trey Harris. It's a full house. But here's the thing. Keandre brings something different. He's not just another name on the depth chart. He's a deep threat specialist, something this offense has been missing for a while. This guy is blazing fast, clocked a 4.3 in the 40-yard dash. That kind of speed opens up the field, and when you've got Justin Herbert at quarterback, you want someone who can stretch defenses and create those highlight reel plays. He's not just fast, he's efficient. In college, Keandre posted one of the best deep receiving grades in the nation, even though his team didn't throw deep all that often. That means his numbers could have been even better if he'd had more chances. And now, he's on a team that lives for big plays. Herbert's arm plus Keandre's speed equals fireworks waiting to happen. Now, let's be realistic. No one's predicting 1,000 yards for a rookie drafted in the 5th round. But don't be shocked if he makes his presence felt with explosive catches that flip the field and fire up the crowd. He reminds me of those unsung heroes from a few years back. Guys like Jalen Guyton, who came out of nowhere and suddenly became go-to deep threats. Smith could be that guy this season. A weapon defenses can't ignore, and someone who just might become one of Herbert's favorite targets when it's time to go deep. Next up on our breakout list, Naquan Jones and Deshaun Hand. The Chargers' defensive line is looking for answers, and these two might just be part of the solution. When you're building a championship defense, sometimes the most important pieces are the ones nobody's talking about. Naquan Jones could be one of those pieces. He's got the size, 6 feet 3 inches, over 310 pounds, and he brings that rare mix of strength against the run and sneaky pass rush ability that teams dream of finding in a rotational defensive lineman. The Chargers need someone like him right now, especially with the way they leaned on guys like Teair Tart last season. Think about it. Teair Tart bounced around the league before finding a real home in LA, and now he's a core part of the defense. Jones is on a similar path. After stints with other teams, this could be his chance to finally stick and thrive. What makes him intriguing is his versatility. He's not limited to one role. He can move along the line, plug gaps, push the pocket, and rotate in without the defense missing a beat. With rookies like Cameron Caldwell also vying for snaps, expect a healthy competition that only makes the D-line better. But don't be surprised if Jones quietly becomes the steady force in that group. He's got experience, he's got the build, and he's got something to prove. That's a dangerous combination. This could be the year Jones locks in a permanent role and becomes one of the most important under-the-radar players on the Chargers defense. When you think of what Justin Herbert has needed over the past couple of seasons, two things come to mind: a reliable safety valve at tight end and consistency at center. This year, the Chargers may have found both. Let's start with Tyler Conklin, a tight end who doesn't need flash to make an impact. What he brings is trust. He's the kind of player who can sit in a zone, box out a linebacker, and come down with the catch when Herbert needs a clean, safe option. With his size and hands, don't be surprised if he quietly becomes a go-to guy on third downs or in the red zone. What sets Conklin apart is that he's not here to be a 1,000-yard superstar. He's here to stabilize the offense. A 500-yard, 5-touchdown season would be right in his wheelhouse, but don't be shocked if he blows past those numbers. What he really does is open things up for the rest of the offense, letting younger guys like Oronde Gadsden II develop at their own pace and freeing up Will Dissly to focus on blocking duties. It's a role-player move that could create a ripple effect across the entire offense. And now, let's talk trenches. The center position has been a revolving door lately, and the Chargers know they need to lock it down. That's where Andre James steps in. He's not the flashiest signing of the offseason, but he might be one of the most important. James brings toughness and intelligence to the line, a guy who's been through the wars and knows how to hold his ground against elite pass rushers. That's the kind of presence the Chargers have been missing at the heart of the O-line. While some eyes are on Zion Johnson experimenting with snaps in training camp, don't overlook James. He's a veteran who knows how to anchor an offense, call protections, and keep his quarterback upright. This is how championship-caliber rosters are built. Not just with stars, but with the right pieces in the right places. And Conklin and James. They just might be two of the smartest pickups the Chargers made all offseason. Let's be honest. The offensive line has been a puzzle for the Chargers, and the centerpiece of that puzzle might finally be falling into place. Andre James isn't just another name in a training camp rotation. He's a power-first center with a nasty streak and a track record of executing gap-blocking concepts with brutal precision. His time with the Raiders showed what he can do when placed in the right scheme. And now, reunited with a similar system under this new Chargers offense, he could be the missing anchor up front. With questions still swirling around Zion Johnson and Bradley Bozeman, don't be surprised if James quietly locks down the starting center job by week 1. His strength, awareness, and understanding of leverage fit this offense like a glove, and that might just spark a resurgence the line desperately needs. Now on the other side of the ball, it's time to talk about one of the most underrated signings of the offseason. Dante Jackson has the mindset of a ball hawk and the motor of a linebacker. He doesn't just play corner, he hunts mistakes in a Chargers scheme designed to harass quarterbacks with constant pressure and disguised looks. That's the perfect ingredient for turnovers. And turnovers? That's where Jackson shines. Sure, his career has seen its ups and downs in coverage, but his ability to capitalize on bad reads and create game-changing plays is exactly what this defense thrives on. Think back to how Christian Fulton flipped the narrative on his career once he landed with the Chargers. Don't be surprised if Jackson becomes the next redemption story in powder blue. Fast, physical, opportunistic. Jackson isn't here to be a lockdown guy. He's here to flip the field and change the game's momentum in a single snap. Oh, and one more name you should circle in bold this year: Ty Tart. Last year, he silenced all the doubts and earned his second chance by owning his role on the interior D-line. Now, with Poona Ford also entering the rotation, a nose tackle with surprising burst and relentless energy, the interior front could turn into one of the most disruptive forces in the AFC West. The blueprint is clear. The Chargers aren't just plugging gaps this season. They're building a foundation that punches back. The new anchor in the trenches and the next big thing at wide receiver last season. Poona Ford didn't just fill a gap. He became a force. And now, it looks like the Chargers might have struck gold again on the interior line. This time the name is T-Tart. He's not here just to rotate in quietly or take up space. Tart has the size, the burst, and, most importantly, the grit to anchor this run defense. And while he's been solid in the past, this season could mark a real turning point in his career. Think of it like this. Last year, Ford went from afterthought to starter. Tart could be next in line to follow that same path, but with even greater upside. He's more than just a body. He's a problem for offensive lines. What's exciting is how the Chargers are betting on him. They didn't hand him that extension for nothing. They're loading his plate, giving him more responsibility, and signaling loud and clear. They believe in his growth. And if Tart rises to the moment, don't be surprised if he becomes one of the quiet stars of the Bolts defense by the end of the season. But let's shift to the other side of the ball, because coming in at number 4 is a name Chargers fans need to remember: Trey Harris, wide receiver, rookie, Old Miss product, and built for the X-receiver role the Chargers have been aching to fill. Here's the thing. You don't have to expect a monster 1,000-yard rookie campaign from Harris to recognize how important he's about to become. This is a guy who wins at the line, beats man coverage, and doesn't flinch in contested catch situations. He's strong at the point of the catch and even better at keeping his feet moving after it. Sure, Mike Williams might still be the X on paper, but Harris, he's the one who's going to demand snaps as the season unfolds. His presence on the outside will do more than move chains. It'll open up space for guys like Ladd McConkey to carve defenses underneath, and for Quentin Johnston to start flourishing with less pressure. And when Justin Herbert looks deep or into tight coverage, Trey Harris is going to make him feel right at home. This isn't just about depth, it's about the beginning of a new connection: Herbert and Harris. The way it started with Mike. The way it could ignite again with Trey. And make no mistake, when this kid gets going, it's going to be hard to take him off the field. Rising heat on defense, Coulson's emergence, and Tuli's takeover. You want a breakout star, a player ready to grab 2025 by the throat and shake up the league? Then keep your eyes locked on Junior Coulson. This isn't some overhyped rookie chatter. Coulson is the real deal. And those who watched him command Michigan's defense already know what he brings: leadership, intelligence, grit. He wasn't just part of a dominant unit. He was the heart of it. Now transplant that to a Chargers defense that already speaks his language. Coulson isn't learning on the fly. He's stepping back into familiar territory, running a system under Jesse Minter that he once thrived in. That matters. That accelerates his impact. Last season, some injuries and even a medical setback, the appendix thing, kept him off rhythm. But 2025, the chains are off. You can already hear the quiet rumble. Coulson is about to go full Henley. Remember how Dion Henley exploded onto the scene last year? Trusted tackler, reliable in coverage, relentless in the run game. Now imagine two of those guys flying around the field in unison. That's the vision. Henley and Coulson, shoulder to shoulder, becoming one of the fiercest young linebacker duos in the AFC. And Coulson might just outpace them all. That's why he's number 3 on this list. But if everything clicks, don't be surprised when he rockets up to number 1 by season's end. Now let's talk about a guy who's already heating up, and he's just getting started: Tuli Tipalotu. What he did last season, that wasn't just solid rotational play. That was edge-rushing dominance. He didn't wait for opportunity. He hunted it down, led the team in sacks, and never looked out of place, even alongside veterans like Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. And now, Bosa's out. Gone. Off to Buffalo. Which means Tuli steps forward, not as a fill-in, but as a featured weapon. There's no more rotation shadow. Tuli's workload is going to skyrocket, and with that comes the chance to dominate outright. 10 sacks, entirely possible. A Pro Bowl nod, don't bet against it. Because Tuli isn't a maybe, he's a machine. Explosive first step, a motor that doesn't quit, and a feel for collapsing the pocket at just the right second. With Khalil Mack drawing attention on one side, Tuli is going to feast on mismatches. And you better believe opposing quarterbacks are going to feel that pressure. This season is more than a breakout. It's a coronation for Tuli Tipalotu, the crown jewel of 2025. Omari on the throne Hampton. You've made it this far, and now it's time to meet the face of the Chargers' future. A player so hyped, so violently talented, that it's not a question of if he'll explode this year, it's how hard. Omari Hampton. Say it loud, because you're going to be hearing that name a lot in 2025. This isn't just another rookie entering a crowded backfield. No, Hampton walks into Los Angeles with the power of a freight train and the finesse of a veteran. At UNC, he carried an entire offense. No help, no excuses, just raw dominance. Size, elite, vision, NFL ready. Power, you'll see linebackers bounce off this dude. Now picture that beast running behind Rashawn Slater and Mickey Becton. That's not fair. The Chargers spent last season trying to patch together a run game. Veterans filled gaps. Flash plays came and went. But with Hampton in the fold, there's finally a true identity forming. And it starts with this monster in the backfield. He's not a rotational piece. He's not part of a committee. He's the tone setter. And Justin Herbert? He's never had a running mate like this. The defense finally has to respect both the deep shot and the 20-yard gut punch. The offense becomes multidimensional, dangerous. You want predictions? Let's talk real. 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. And that's just the floor. That's how good Hampton is, and how perfectly he fits this new-look Chargers team. People will talk fantasy football. They'll talk rankings. But inside that building, they'll talk about him the way they used to talk about LT, as a centerpiece, as a superstar, as the heartbeat of a new era in LA. This is not a sleeper pick. This is a warning shot to the league. Omari Hampton is coming. And when it hits, when the ground starts shaking in Thunder Alley, you'll remember the name that started it all.